Hails and well met, fellow adventurers, and welcome to RPG Tales Told, where we regale stories of adventure and heroism, and also fun and entertaining accounts from tabletops everywhere. Shall we begin? Leon here. By the way, if you enjoy the video, it would be most excellent if you liked and subscribed. And hey, share with the rest of your adventuring party too. Alright, back to the video. Chapter 3. Will. His brain felt heavy, his thoughts slow and thick, like someone had coated them with peanut butter. Getting used to it was hard. Thinking hard. Made sense. Make stupid dwarf not think good. Trying to think about it any deeper was impossible, like trying to swim in peanut butter. Peanut butter. That reminded him he was still thirsty. Ale, he demanded, pounding the table. I think you've had enough, Leon told him flatly. He considered this, then reluctantly nodded. The fact that the blindingly hot elf chick was Leon made his brain hurt. Best to just accept it. James was an ass, but that was nothing new. The pair of them were discussing something, but Will couldn't really follow it. He tried, but a lot of the language was still foreign to him. Instead, he decided to check out his gear, beginning to unload his pack onto the table. Warhammer, check. Armor, check. Rations, check. Lots and lots of rope, check. Grappling hook, check. He fished an odd-looking piece of paper from the bottom of the pack, frowning at it sternly. It was completely illegible. Hey, bro. Leon shook his shoulder with all the strength of a 5-year-old. What's that? Trash, he concluded, wadding it up and tossing it away. Leon went after the paper, and Will shook his pack over the table. Nothing else fell out. Seriously, that's all you've got? James asked, clearly missing the point. Dwarf strong, he explained. Leon understood. James would too. That won't be enough, James told him. You have next to nothing in terms of supplies here. You don't even have a bedroll. Leon tell you, he assured. Dwarf strong. Leon was staring intently at the trash paper, large red eyes growing slowly wider. Leon, he waved to get her attention. Tell dummy dwarf strong. Leon slammed the paper down in front of him and pointed at it furiously. This isn't trash. This is your goddamn character sheet. No, he objected. Just mess. What? James snatched the paper and scanned it. I'll be damned. Is this for real? I think so, Leon replied thoughtfully. I wonder what it means. Will shrugged and returned to sorting his gear. They would see. Dwarf strong. Hit stuff good. James handed him back the paper, but he waved it away. You keep. No way. I don't want to hold on to your shit for you. I can, I guess. Leon accepted it, looking over it again. Check yours. See if there's anything weird on there. There's a couple of things on Will's that are pretty detrimental. Leon gave him an annoyed glance. Min-max to the max. You dumbass. Dwarf strong, he insisted, mildly confused. He was sure Leon understood that already. You named yourself Warden Musclebeard? She asked incredulously. He held up an arm, flexing his massive biceps. Yeah, that doesn't explain why you're claiming your beard is ripped. James started rifling through his pack, searching for his own paper probably. Will was starting to get very, very bored. Dan was still sleeping. Looked kinda nice. He could use a nap. Leon started talking again, but he was over it. Ignoring her, he strolled over to the bar, waving up at the burly man behind it. Room, he requested. The barkeep looked down at him in confusion, then shook his head. This isn't an inn. You want the huntsman, or the vast elm if you've got the coin for it. Will grunted his thanks, then returned to the table. He'd forgotten he was broke. Leon was still looking over his paper, shaking his head in dismay. You have points in crafting, but after your mind modifier, your total is 0. Why even take crafting? We should find a better place to figure everything out, James announced quietly. We're getting more and more weird looks. Room, Will demanded, letting them know he was ready to take a nap. Leon nodded. Good idea, bro. Let's find an inn and get a room. Will nodded in satisfaction. He was very tired. Something in the back of his mind kept screaming that something was very wrong, but it was harder and harder to hear it. He just wanted to take a long nap, have a nice cold ale, and a big hunk of meat. You're drooling. James's narrow features twisted into an expression of disgust. I know your mind stat is low, but try to rein it in a little, would you? Something in him recoiled at his friend's tone, and he lowered his eyes, wiping his mouth on his sleeve. He hadn't been doing it on purpose. Something was very, very wrong. Will unloaded his sleeping friend onto the bed as gently as he could. He didn't recognize Dan, but knew this was him. He felt fragile, like a kitten, barely anything more than skin and bones. Exhaustion was etched into his bookish features, bloodless lips drawn and cracked. He looked like he could die at any moment. Close enough to him, Will could feel a smoldering heat, as if fire flowed in his veins. He inwardly recoiled from it. Something about that heat scared him senseless. The same feeling whispered at the back of his mind, and he pushed it down. Well, this sucks ass, James declared. This isn't how I wanted to spend my Saturday. I have plans with Grace tonight. I'm supposed to host Super Bowl Sunday tomorrow. We were finally going to finish up nailing the Gardner residence on Monday. God damn it, I have plans. Yeah, we know, Leon replied, an annoyed edge to her voice. I suggest we find a way to move forward so you can get back to those plans. Oh yeah? So far you've been all talk. Do you actually have an idea of what to do? If not, then shut up about it. Leon scowled. Far be it from me to state the obvious, huh? Fine then, how's this? Why don't we wait until Dan recovers before trying to make actual plans? He's supposed to be our wizard, so we're gonna need him functional anyway. James's feature grew conflicted as his gaze passed over Dan. Finally, he nodded and sighed. Yeah, I guess you have a point. All right then, what now? Aren't you supposed to be the party leader? You took speech, right? Will was over it. He climbed up onto the bed and settled down, facing the wall. It's not that high. I only put 1 point in. Leon? Lyra, she corrected. Right, Leon was Lyra now. Leon, none of this is real, James growled. Make sure you don't ever forget that. Lyra, she said firmly. And how do you know it isn't real? Cut yourself? I'm sure you'll bleed. And if I die? James asked quietly. Silence hung in the room, heavy and oppressive. Bad idea, Lyra finally replied. You've seen a lot of isekai, right? 1 or 2. Dan was the weeb, not me. Then let me spell it out for you. An edge entered her voice. Dying in an isekai almost never returns you to your old world, and even if it does, you won't be going back to your old body. The way to do that is probably to complete the task you've been isekai'd for. Will's heart thudded. A shred of his old life reached for him from the back of his mind. Lyra was right. And what would that be? James's voice was growing desperate. Lyra hummed. If I had to guess, I'd say we have to do Alan's campaign. I could be wrong, though. I really hate to say this, but a lot of the time if you get isekai'd, there's no going back to your old world. What? Don't dwell on it. Right now, we don't know which case it is. So until we can figure it out, we should act as if we can go back. That means no drastic measures. Savvy? Silence. Bro. Yeah, I get it. James's voice was low and sullen. Will's eyelids pulled themselves down. and the darkness swallowed him. We shall have to continue this tale in the next chapter. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you were entertained. Please consider liking, subscribing, and ringing the bell of notifications.